Hello and welcome to another video. So I've got all my Shadowverse Vault starter decks in, so I thought why don't we do some unboxing. So we're going to start off with the first one, which is the starter deck 1, Regal Fairy Princess. So we have that here, which is sick. Very, very nice looking. So we'll get right into this, and we will check out what's actually in these starter decks, eh? Very cool product. Something I've wanted to check out for a while and just hadn't got the chance to. So obviously, what do we get? We get all our counters. Pretty normal. Pretty standard for every starter deck, I'm sure. Let's give you a set of counters, whether that's both damage and obviously aura effects and stuff like that. We get life counter, which is sick. Manual. Nothing super crazy fancy there, just all the rules you could need for a quick start guide. And then of course you get your playmats. So obviously these are just standard paper playmats, nothing fancy. But it does look like they did a decent job of designing these. Which is really good. They pretty, well, not a bad material. Considering I think it's slightly better than the Yu-Gi-Oh ones. The Yu-Gi-Oh ones are pretty awful, so that's my frame of reference. Alright. So we'll move all that out of the way and we'll actually get into the cards. Little life counters are pretty cool though. Having just a disc that you can rotate around for life is actually pretty useful. Don't know how high it actually goes. Looks like it goes to 30 max. You definitely see people going over 30 pretty easily with some cards. Alright, so I actually crack this thing open. It looks like they do seal them pretty decently. They aren't just thrown in, And instead of using a full foil wrap to cover all the cards, they're just using a pretty simple band, which is good. I actually don't mind just the plastic bands on these sort of things, so that's always alright. Alright. So, looking at the first card here, we have Aria Fairy Princess. Very nice. You get 2 copies, which is very, very good. Would be very nice. I had the light on because I wasn't sure if that was going to be good or not, but it looks like it's just interfering more with the art than anything, so I think that looks pretty solid, honestly. There we go. That's better. Now you get a slightly better look at these. So yeah, very nice artwork, very nice printing. Card quality seems good, which is great. These ones are simply wards. Put 9 fairy tokens onto your field. In your EX area. Your EX area is basically a second hand. Pretty easy to use. While this card's on field, all your other picks fillers have rush, so it also gives rush. Oh, I was mistaken. They give you 3 copies of this. They do give you playsets of most things, so do expect to see that more often than not, that we're going to get full playsets of most cards here. So, next up, we have Titania's Sanctuary. Obviously, another 3 of. Very nice. Again, all the Shadowverse art was always very good. So seeing it here just kind of emphasizes that it was very, very good. But yeah, we're get some very nice cards after all, so should be good. Rose Gardener seems to be pretty popular in Japan as a still used card. I'm sure they give us the evolves for these as well, since they're in the deck. Waltzing Fairies. Like I said, you're going to get a playset, which is 3 in this case, for pretty much every card. There's only a couple that aren't playsets, so nothing too insane. Fairycaster, another card that's just kind of fine. Summon 3 fairy tokens. If your field becomes full, with this effect, put the remaining tokens in your X area. Not bad. Don't mind them going there. For a starter deck, this seems fine. F. Trying to remember what F F means. I'd have to look at the actual guide, but select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 1 damage. Combo 3, deal 3 damage instead. Had that used against me the other night, actually. Good old doggy boy, Okami. Also, we only get 2 copies of that and 2 copies of Okami. Whenever another allied follower is put into the field, give this follower +1/+1. There's going to be a lot of cards here, so we'll probably end up stacking these up as we go. So following on from that, we obviously have Trent. Another very solid card. Looks fine. least they give you playsets that one, which is nice. Water Fairy, 3 of course. Your standard old 1-drops that used to go with things like May, you know, always a really nice early game play usually. Still trying to get my head around how a lot of the physical game works. I'm sure we'll have some gameplay videos going up along with these deck overviews. Elf Warden, cool. It has a sail. A sail is the game mechanic that lets you attack things that aren't rested. Because if a card is rested, it can't. If a card isn't rested, it can't be attacked without having a sail. Fairy circles, simple. Fairies into extra zone. Woodland Refuge. Select a pixie follower from your field, put +1/+1, return this card to your hand. Cool. Alright, now that we've pretty much filled up this area here, we'll just start stacking these cards up as we get to the next ones. I think that's how we'll do them. But yeah, we've got 6 of these. I do plan to go over pretty much every card, and then we will obviously turn those all. They'll all be their own video. This one will be a forest one, then we'll have the second deck, which is sword, and so on, and we'll just work our way through them all eventually. I think that'll be the play here. So 3 copies of Sylvian Justice. You get into your spells. Quick is your opponent interaction. So if your opponent attacks or ends turn, you're able to activate a quick card in response and then use its quick effect, provided you have the play points to pay its cost still available to you. I actually wouldn't mind seeing that mechanic move over to Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. Kind of hope it does. Some gold ones, generically good aggro cards. Angelic Snipe, again, another just kind of damage card. Select enemy following field, deals 2 damage. It is a quick for 1. This actually doesn't seem awful. Probably not as good as Snipe, but still pretty solid. And Angelic Barrage, deal 1 to each enemy follower on board. Is there only... Yeah, Angelic Snipe, 2 of. Angelic Barrage, 1 of. Okay, interesting. So they give you 1 board wipe card, basically. Now we get onto the evolves. So these will go on top of your normal followers. Once you pay their evolve costs. Typically you can pay that with either evolve tokens if you're going second, or you can also pay it with play points. On evolve, select enemy follower on the field, return it to the owner's hand, combo 3, draw a card. Very nice. These also have their own separate deck. So. Then we have Trents. This art is actually really nice. Just a nice little Trent going on here. The Fey touched. Nothing special though, it's just a 5/5. He just turns into a bigger body, which is fine. The little water fairies. They give you 3 of those for their Evo. Summon a fairy token. Last word. Oh, that must be last word indicator, is it? Yeah, so red F is fanfare and purple L is last word. Okay, I get it now. I was like, because I played obviously on tabletop for a bit last night, and I was like, all of them are just listed as like last words and stuff. They're not hotkeyed. They do only give you 1 goblin Evo, which I guess is fine. Just a big boy. Obviously, as you can tell, some of the stats and effects are going to be very different to the digital game. They give you your 3 Evo tokens. Basically, if you're going second, you get 3 of these. You can use 1 per turn as part of your Evo cost. So if something evolves for 1, you can just use 1 of these. Otherwise, you know, you have to use some play points as well. Then you get your leader card. Leader cards are mostly just fancy. Also, this is a very thick card, right? Yeah, jeez. I guess because it's got, I believe, NFC built into it. So I believe it interacts with the app, which I haven't actually looked at yet. But yeah, the Orisa leader card, they're literally just, they're basically just cosmetic. So you put them on the board, they don't do anything, they just act as your face, effectively. So like, instead of saying, you know, swing to life, you're saying, yeah, swing to leader. It's really just a cosmetic difference. Tokens, I'm glad these included. These are also really thick. I guess to differentiate them from normal cards. Which I guess is fine. But yeah, very, very thick these tokens are. So you get a bunch of fairy tokens for this deck. Since they're all fairies, which is fine. And that wraps up the forest deck. So obviously plenty of cool cards to see in this deck. You obviously get your entire 40 card deck. You get tokens, plenty of them. It looks like you get like 10 potentially. Also, tokens in this game are not required to actually be the card. So, for example, instead of using a token in a different case, you could use a random card, a dice, whatever, to represent whatever your token is, as long as you're representing its stats and effects correctly. Which I believe the rule book and I believe online you can just find stat blocks that tell you what all the tokens are, and that works pretty well. And then obviously all the evolve cards, which again very very nice. They give you plenty of them, which is good because you have 10 of them total. Rose Gardener being a pretty decent one from what I can tell. So overall, decently solid. I actually don't mind these. I really look forward to being able to actually give these a good full-on test. I mostly messed around with pre-done decks and stuff in tabletop, but actually getting to play all the starter decks as they're released like this would be really cool. So hopefully we'll be able to do that soon. But until next time, guys, I will catch you then.